Star Wars, Star Wars, how the mighty have fallen to the dark side. To say that Star Wars is not what it once was would be a major understatement. Seriously, this series resembles a dead body of like 8 weeks with dried blood, bugs and maggots crawling all over and through it, and a stench so foul and unexplainable that just simply getting close enough to it will probably make your eyes water, followed by gagging and throwing up. And even if you're not close enough to smell it, just the sight of it will yield the same results, in that order. Now me, I may not be considered a diehard Star Wars fan, but I do have a deep love for the series. I would be lying if I didn't say that some of my favorite characters, video games, and TV shows weren't from that universe, and no one can deny the influence that Star Wars has had over the entertainment industry as a whole. I grew up with the prequel trilogy, and although a lot of people feel that these movies were not even close to being good upon their release, a lot of them would agree now that they're not nearly as bad as the new trilogy that Disney is making. Personally, I never thought they were that bad. And not the best movies, hell no, and they definitely have their flaws, but I still liked a lot about them, and I never really understood the hate they received. After the prequels released, we had the Star Wars The Clone Wars animated series, amazing show by the way, and a few Star Wars games and novels from the expanded universe to help fans get their Star Wars fix. And the fan base was so strong in Star Wars that various fan films were created as well. The love for the series remains strong despite there not being any major movie releases over the course of like 10 years. And when Disney announced the deal with George Lucas promising more movies for a foreseeable future, people started losing their minds with anticipation, myself included. I mean, how could you not get excited, especially if you were a Star Wars fan? No one was ready for what we got though, and I mean no one. With the new leader in charge of Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy, being obsessed with identity politics and constantly trying to push her female agenda with her commentary on Star Wars in interviews and in the movies themselves. Her, J.J. Abrams, Rian Johnson, and the teams underneath their leadership lost sight of what made Star Wars, constantly disrespecting the original trilogy and the legacy characters that came before, bringing them back only for marketing and to make them do things that betray everything they once stood for. Then they just kill them off in dishonorable ways, shoving the new characters they created down our throats, insinuating that they are way more important than the ones that started it all, despite them not having any personalities to speak of and no likability to them at all. Everything in these new movies are dry and soulless, devoid of any meaning, and it's all style over substance, with barely any style to speak of. And the level of inconsistency between the new movies are painful. Nothing connects and makes sense, and everything spells a clusterfuck, making the new central character Rey the best Jedi in the world with literally no character growth, life lessons, or training at all? Insulting! And like I said before, killing characters off left and right for literally no reason at all, other than to subvert expectation. We're talking about heroes and villains alike. Really, there was only one major villain that they killed off for no reason, and that was such a major fuck up that it at least count for like 2 or 3 people. Not to mention the fact that they missed a huge opportunity with reuniting the OGs, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill back on the screen once more, without ever getting a chance to properly use them in a meaningful way for the story. R.I.P. to Carrie Fisher. Just a constant cycle of disrespect, bad choices, and horrible storytelling, and it always gets worse and worse. And on top of all that, during this whole mess while the entire empire of Star Wars and the series' relevance is collapsing, when true fans of the series try to reach out and help Lucasfilm with their mismanagement of the series and try to give them some insight, the so-called professionals that work on the series have been insulting the fans and calling them names, never trying to own up to their mistakes and the ludicrous direction that they've been steering everything in. Seems like no one at Lucasfilm understands the meaning of the words constructive criticism. The whole thing is a mess, and this mess is way beyond cleaning up. It seems like now the only interest fans have in this series now is just to watch it continue to burn, just to see how bad it can truly get. And even though it's sad how completely tone deaf Lucasfilm and Disney are at this point, I must admit it's pretty damn funny as well, especially when you see the latest trailer for The Rise of Skywalker and hear the rumors surrounding that film and see that they still haven't learned shit. And before I get off here, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Fandom Menace for holding it down and saying what needs to be said about all this Star Wars bullshit. And I hope you had a good day, night, wherever you are, and enjoyed this video. And until next time, guys, peace.